And he is our insider to all things NFL. Adam, good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing?
Good. It looks like you're at home. Are you en route to the Masters? Are you headed there soon?
Going this afternoon.
Woo! All right. Well, safe travels. I know some of our colleagues had a tough time getting down there with some of the storms that were rumbling this past weekend and earlier this week. I want to ask you what you're hearing about the Packers potentially playing overseas. Mark Murphy has been doing the tailgate tour, and I guess he said something along the lines of the Steelers might want to protect the home game that they have against the Packers. Do the teams have a say in which of the opponents or which of the games ends up being the international game? What is your understanding of how the international games get picked?
Well, I know this, that teams express preferences to the league all the time. We want to open at home, or we don't want to be home in November. There's concerts, at the facility or whatever it may be. And the league takes note of all the requests that come in from all the teams. And I think the league tries to accommodate as many requests as it can. But, of course, it's impossible to do that. And if the league wants the Packers and Steelers to play in Ireland in the first game ever played there, which I would think that the league would, then even if the Packers don't want to give up that home game, the league may say it's for the good of the league, and that's the way it's going to go. Now, the league may say to Mark Murphy, okay, you want that? It's important. Steelers don't come through Green Bay very often. No problem. We'll get so like it's just it's like bartering. It's chip trading. Like what's important, what's not. You got to give up something to get something. So I don't know where the league is going to come in on this. I don't know how the situation will net out. I would guess that the league would want the Steelers and Packers to be the first game in Ireland. I don't know if they view that as too valuable a game to place there, or they might say, you know what? That's exactly what we want to do, even though Green Bay doesn't want to give up that game.
Adam, do you do a mock draft?
I don't. I've been asked to, and I don't feel the need to do that. And it's a very hard thing to do. And if you get 3 or 4 or 5 picks right, you're doing well. And so now all of a sudden, you don't know anything because you got 28 picks wrong. So I don't think there's any sense in me putting my name into that ring when there are so many mock drafts as there are anyway.
Who do you think will be available? I'm talking receivers available to the Packers at 23.
I think that's right in the range that 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀 would be there.
Okay.
I think it's possible that 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀 could be there at that point. Possible.
Really?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not telling you he will be, but I think it's possible.
Do you think teams factor in, Adam? Because you look at all the receivers in the last 10 years that have come out of Ohio State, there really hasn't been any bust. They're even like 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀. He's still a good player. You got Marvin Harrison. I mean, you think that goes into their thinking like, we really can't go wrong with Ohio State guys. Let's take them. Even if someone may be rated a little bit higher at another school that doesn't have the same track record.
I think they've got grades on guys, and I think they're going to stick to that. I don't know where Green Bay, rates Matthew Golden or 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀 or 𝘾𝙀𝙀𝙀 or, how those things compare to one another. And I don't think like they're saying, okay, well, 𝘾𝙀𝙀 did go to Ohio State and they produced Michael Thomas and Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison. And I don't think they're doing that, but it's all part of the equation that gets factored into the grade that they have on the guy. And by the way, the feeling you have on the guy too, probably like just an overall outlook.
Well, and I know that Brian Hartline, who is the wide receivers coach there at Ohio State, is very well respected amongst the league. Obviously, former player, but the fact that he has had such consistent success developing these guys at the collegiate level and then them showing out in the NFL, it's a little cachet for him as well.
He's done a great job. They put out a tremendous number of receivers, and the interesting part is that maybe the single best one that they will ever put out is still there right now.
All right, Adam, like the draft, it's in a couple weeks. We can worry about that. The NFL season, months away. There's only one thing we should be talking about with you right now.
I agree. What do you think?
What's the first thing that you're going to do when you step on the grounds at Augusta National tomorrow?
I think the first thing I want to do actually is I want to get to the gift shop and get a bunch of things and get like Father's Day presents and get you guys hats and things like that. See, like I think I want to go do that.
You remembered.
You wouldn't forget. Adam, our buddy Adam wouldn't forget.
And get that out of the way. And like I think they ship it for you.
Yes.
I think they do.
They do. When I was there in 2019, I did not know that, and that was like the best thing because then you'd have to walk around with like all the stuff or worry about, okay, how am I going to fit this in the luggage? Because people, I'm sure, it wasn't just us. I'm sure people oh, you're going to Augusta? Can you grab this for me? People just throw in the requests because it's hard to get to Augusta.
But Adam, do you have like a game plan? Like this group is teeing off that you want to see. I'll take them to the third hole, and then I'm going to cut across and go to 7, and then I should be able to pick up. Do you do that, or are you just going to willy-nilly it?
Willy-nilly. Like, again, I'm going to meet a couple of different people. I have not yet picked my golfer for this tournament yet. Last time I was there, my golfer that week in the pool was Bryson DeChambeau, and he had like a meltdown. And I watched him for 3 holes, and I couldn't take it anymore because it was freaking me out. Like I had to stop following the guy. And by the way, like I haven't even talked about this, but last fall I got invited out to New Jersey. Jack Giarraputo, the producer of 𝘂𝘼𝘽𝑗, invited me out for the day, and they were filming, and I got to watch them film. It was Bryson, it was Scotty Scheffler, it was Rory, it was Brooks Koepka. I was with these guys that day when they were filming, and I was watching them. And I talked to Bryson for a little while afterwards, and he was incredibly thoughtful, smart, personable, great. I didn't tell him that I didn't have the heart to say to him, like, I couldn't follow you that day that I picked him. Like, it was so stressful. Yeah. I picked this guy, and I remember being on, I think it was the 5th hole, and he hits it behind the TV tower, and he's doing this, and he's looking up, and he's got his hands on his helmet going, aren't golfers, it's like, aren't they supposed to have a nice calm day? He's freaking me out. I can't watch this guy anymore, And since then, he's evolved into this incredible golfer. I don't know who we'll be picking, but whoever we pick, I'd like to, if I can stomach it, I'd like to follow them a little bit. But I got to tell you something. I followed a couple of golfers that I've picked. There was one time I went out with Collin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, and Patrick Cantlay when they were playing at Liberty National in August. And the PGA Tour had me come in and go behind the ropes with these guys. And I had Spieth, and I remember he made a birdie on one hole. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I got to catch myself there, not to cheer for my golfer. And every time he hits a shot that goes out of bounds, I'm dying inside. Like, I don't even know how these guys do it. Like, I get all emotional over my golfer. So I have no plan, Chewy. I'll just kind of go. The one thing I do, I want to get the gift shop out of the way early. That I do want to do. And once I do that, then it's just kind of wing it, willy-nilly, and go from there. By the way, I also want to take this moment while I'm on the airwaves in Milwaukee to personally thank Ryan Rollins, the Milwaukee Bucks guard, for helping me over the weekend. I was in my fantasy basketball championship round against Kevin Pulsifer, a researcher at ESPN who does a great job. And all I could say is I was down on Sunday night at the end of a week. I don't know if you know how fantasy basketball works, but it's 9 categories. And our matchup was coming down to steals. Just steals. He was going to win 4. I was going to win 4. It was all about steals going into the last day. But at 8:46 Eastern on Sunday night, I was down 8 steals. 8. And I was in the second half. I had 4 guys left. White Lotus was about to begin. I was pissed off that I lost. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to send him a text now. And I don't like to be those guys that text ahead of fancy matchups being done because you never know. But this was over. Like, I was down 8 steals. He still had Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG and Nunby going. I had 4 guys in the second half. I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, congratulations. You were the best team all year long. He's like, well, a little early, but I'll take it. Thank you. Really worked hard, planned this out. And then about 20 minutes later, I see Fred Van Fleet on my team. He gets 2 steals. And then all of a sudden, it's 10:21 Eastern. And I get a text from Kevin Pulsifer again. He goes, he said, I don't want to say anything, but Torian Prince just got a steal. I picked up Torian Prince that day, and Ryan Rollins is going nuts. I'm like, Ryan. I look down. Ryan Rollins, who hadn't had more than 2 steals in the game, had 4 steals.
Yeah.
Against the Pelicans.
This was the equivalent. This was the equivalent of being down 28-3 in the Super Bowl in the second half and coming from behind to win behind 4 Ryan Rollins steals, 2 Torian Prince steals, 3 Fred VanVleet steals, and 2 Andrew Nembhard steals. Like, it was wild.
All right. Josh, that sting a little bit, Josh?
Yeah, that one hurts. Huh? That one hurts.
Josh lost $1,000 last night, Adam, on a bet
What?
he should have clearly won.
What?
Yeah, 3-leg parlay. He needed the hook for Anthony Edwards. A steal or a point would have won him $1,000.
Didn't make a bucket for 8 minutes.
You know how hard it is to get a steal. I got 9 of them in the final 40 minutes. It was unbelievable.
All right, since Ryan Rollins helped you, Adam, I don't want to be seeing any of this Pacer gear because it's going to be Bucks Pacers in the playoffs. All right, you got the Bucks gear. I just want to be seeing the Bucks gear. None of that Pacers gear with the playoffs approaching.
I'm just telling you, look, I lost Dame Lillard from it. Ryan Rollins is my new favorite player. I'm just telling you. He will always be remembered. He will always be remembered as somebody that just saved my season.
That's great.
I can't believe in that entire story, which was wonderful, by the way, you casually dropped in that the producer of Happy Gilmore called you to see if you wanted to come out and watch them film some scenes for the sequel, which is coming out this summer, I believe, on Netflix. Adam, that doesn't happen to normal people. Normal people are not getting called to go watch them shoot Happy Gilmore 2. Like, were you excited? Were you like, I can't believe this is happening? Or were you like, just another day in the life of NFL insider Adam Schefter?
Jen, I just sent you the picture. You could show the guys, okay? So you can take a look at that picture. It was on a Tuesday. And it was like 2 weeks before the trade deadline, and I'm like,
look at this
I don't know if I can.
Look at this picture.
I'm like, I don't know if I can go. Like,
That's so sweet.
I mean, I don't know if I can go. Like, that's, oh boy. Like, I brought my brother-in-law and a guy that I'm friendly with. Those are the 2 guys that you don't recognize in that photo. And we walked out, and right. I mean, I knew it was one of those things. In fact, my wife. She's like, you're not going? I'm like, I don't think I can go. Like, I'm not going to go. She's like, are you out of your mind? You got to go. I'm like, okay. So we went, and it was like we're standing there, and Adam Sandler walks out, and he stops and talks to us for 10 minutes. And then we watched him shoot the scene with Shooter McGavin. And I mean, it was pretty cool, the whole thing. And like, I mean, Gabe knows how much I love watching these guys, and so to talk with Rory and Scotty and Brooks and Bryson, and I mean it was pretty cool.
And Adam Schefter and Adam Sandler, it's like my 2 favorite Adams.
Well, I got another great story there. I'm full of stories today. So back in it must have been the late 1990s. There was this PR guy named Chick Namias who used to work in the NFL, and he was helping do PR for a couple of movies out in Hollywood. So he had the idea to invite sports reporters like me, Peter King, Jay Glazer, John McClain, invite sports writers to be in the movie The Longest Yard that Adam Sandler was doing. And then not only did he have us film one scene, but he flew us all out to the premiere, because that way all the writers and all these newspapers are going to be writing about it. It's free publicity for the movie. So you think about it, if they put us in one scene, they fly us out to the premiere, what does it cost them? And they generate more than that in publicity. Very smart on his part. But I remember going to the premiere, and I step out of my car. They had, car service pick us up and take us to the Chinese Man Theater. And I get out of the car, and everyone's going, Adam. I'm like, I can't believe that people, these days I just made the move to NFL Network. They're watching NFL Network or whatever. Like, Adam. And I'm like, I turn around, and then I look around, and there's Adam Sandler, like right behind me.
That's a good story.
Man, these people love the NFL Network.
I know.
Adam, we've gone overtime, but I do want to ask you one last thing before we let you go. What are you hearing on the Aaron Rodgers situation? We're still talking about it. We've talked about how it seems like the Steelers are the most likely destination. Will this thing get resolved anytime soon, or are we going to have to wait till after the draft to see what these teams do with their picks? What does your gut tell you?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I think the Steelers are still waiting to hear as well. And I would say this, that their offseason program starts a week from Monday. So we're talking about 12 days or so. So, it's not like he's got to give them an answer today. Maybe he will. Maybe, he'll give an answer tomorrow or Friday when I'm on the course of the Masters and don't have my phone. That certainly could happen too. But I think they're just waiting, and that's the only place he has right now. And the question is whether he wants to play there. Everybody's in the dark, as is appropriate in this particular case, trying to figure out what he's going to do. And it's not like Pittsburgh can move off him and go get somebody else. So they're just in a holding pattern. They're waiting, and we'll see what Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he's got some reservations about playing in Pittsburgh. Obviously, because they've wanted him all along, and they haven't gotten it done.
Adam Schefter, great storytelling this morning. We appreciate you. Safe travels down to the Masters. Have a wonderful time.
Enjoy it, bud.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you all, and thank you, most important, Ryan Rollins. You're the man.